what we will cover in this webinar is essentially just what quantity-based pricing is, why you would want to use it, and how it can help your business, and then how to set it up in your store. And so I'm going to go ahead and get started now. And the first thing we're going to do is introduce myself. My name is Chris Graffinino. It's a long Italian name, which is why my email address is just chris@corecommerce.com. I am currently the Chief Operating Officer of CoreCommerce. I've been with this company since 2003. And I started out in sales and technical support for many years and switched around and was in management for a while and, made my way up to where I am today. So it's been a great journey, and I'm looking forward to the future of what we're going to do here with CoreCommerce. We have a lot of exciting things underway that we look forward to sharing with you guys in the coming months. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and get started. Again, today's webinar is quantity-based pricing. And I'm going to start off by defining what quantity-based pricing actually is. It might seem pretty self-explanatory, and it typically is, but I like to just run through it either way so we're all on the same page. So quantity-based pricing is, in essence, the ability to charge different prices for the same item based on how many of that item you're putting in your cart. So, if you order more than 5 of these, you'll get your discounted price. If you order more than 10, you get a discounted price. And the benefit, which is probably obvious to everyone listening, is that, you use this feature to give customers bulk discounts and incentives to buy more of a certain item versus just 1 or 2 or 3 or whatever. And the cases in which you would use it, you're obviously probably, if you sell, for example, an outdoor grill that costs $500, you're probably not going to offer quantity-based discounts to buy 10 of them. However, if you're selling the grill brushes, or you're selling the grill mats that go on the grill, or, that kind of thing, or bags of charcoal, for example, forks and knives, school supplies, things where people would tend to buy 2 of them or 5 of them or 10 of them. Quantity-based discounts and pricing can incentivize them, to buy 10 instead of 6 or 15 instead of 11, that type of thing. And it comes in really handy. And, to expand on the benefits a little bit more, it allows you to give specific pricings to special customers, meaning we talked in a previous webinar about customer groups and customer group pricing. Well, that feature and this feature, the quantity-based pricing, can work simultaneously. So if you have 2 different customer groups and you want to give quantity-based pricing to a specific item, you can make that pricing different for each group. So if you buy 0 to 5 of an item, the wholesale price can be 8 and the retail price can be 10, for example. And again, it allows you to potentially sell more by offering a cheaper price, generating more revenue, which is the goal of everything in our business, right? To generate as much revenue for ourselves as possible. And so I'm going to jump quickly into just how you set this up. So what will happen is, when you edit an item, if you enable quantity-based pricing and or customer group pricing, you can have one or the other on, or they can both be on, right? And you would do that inside the marketing tab. You will see a section called pricing discounts, or just discounts, I believe. And on that screen is where you can enable customer group pricing and or quantity-based pricing as a whole globally. When they're enabled, what you'll see on the screen is something similar to this. When you go to edit a product, so you'd go to inventory, manage products, edit an item, and then you'll see one of the accordion sections on the general setup screen will say quantity pricing. And in this screenshot, the scenario is I have quantity pricing enabled. And I have two different customer groups enabled. One is called retail, one is called wholesalers. And so what I did when I set this up here is I just created my ranges of minimums and maximums. And then I set what the retail price would be versus what the wholesale price would be if the quantity added to cart fell within that range. And you may notice a couple of different things on the screen. A couple of things to note. You can use the number 999999, the 6 9s, to tell the system infinity. So when you see 21 to 999999, really what I'm saying is 21 and up. And it will show that on the product page. You'll see 21 plus. And so it will know as long as it's greater than that, then it falls into that bucket, right? The other thing to denote on this screen is to make sure there aren't any gaps within the different ranges you select. So for example, in the first range, I say 1 and the maximum is 10. And then in the second range, instead of the number 11, I have the number 12 by accident, which the system would totally let you save it that way. The problem is if I add 11 to my cart and 11 now does not fall into a bucket, then it would go back to the default price, which whatever that is, and it would not, charge the price you might have expected it to. So it's important to make sure that there are no gaps between the end of one row and the start of the next one to make sure that, there are no orphaned quantity amounts kind of stuck in limbo that might get stuck out there. And as I mentioned a little bit in the previous slide, if you have more than one customer group, then it'll give you a column for each group and you can specify the price for each group. If there is only one customer group, or if you don't use that feature at all, then there would just be one column there that said price, and you would just put the price for each row or each bucket. Once those prices are set up, then we can go see what that product looks like on the storefront side of this. Is a screenshot from part of a product page, not the entire page itself. Some of you may recognize the part of the page that you're looking at here, depending on which design theme you use. But you'll notice what happens in this scenario. I was not logged into a customer account at all, so it was using and assuming it needed to show me prices related to the retail customer group that I used on this previous screen here, because and I don't have a screenshot to show this, but in this case, retail is my default customer group, which means if I'm not logged in, it's going to pretend I'm in the retail group and treat me as if I'm in that group. So that's why when I'm looking at this screenshot, I'm seeing these prices related to the retail group, the 20, the 15, and the 10. If I was logged in as a customer and I was tied to the wholesaler's customer group, then on this screen, instead of 20 and 15 and 10, I would see that 18, 13, and 8 listed in this chart. It would be smart enough to show me those prices ahead of time. And then when I add to cart, it's going to add the cart, it's going to determine how many quantity I have, and then it's going to determine which customer group I need to be associated with, and it's going to determine which quantity pricing bucket I need to fall within and charge me accordingly. So as you see on this next screen, I added 5 items to my cart, which fell within that first bucket of 1 to 10. So it's charging me $20 per quantity. And if I change that 5 to 15, on this screen here, you'll notice now it lowered my price to 15 per, because now I'm falling within that second bucket. But because I'm still not logged in as a customer at this point, back over on this screen, it's still using the retail price of 15. Had I then created or logged into an existing account, for example, and I was tied to the other group, it would be smart enough to change that price to the appropriate price. And I believe in this scenario, it would have been $13 per, which would have obviously made my subtotal cheaper on that item. So this is a very useful feature, and it comes in really handy. It can do a lot of good for you, and it's very simple to add the different ranges into the system. So are there any questions about anything related to this?